Good morning. How are you today? Well, it's muggy and warm. It's hot, but it's beautiful. And so far, I'm not suffering from spontaneous combustion, so I'm good. Yesterday, I had a great time down memory lane with one of our, uh, I think, outstanding lawyers who served with Tip O'Neill for many years in the House as his counsel. And it was a kick yesterday for us to be catching up on how we were on other sides of a couple of things that we didn't realize about before, even though we've known each other for many years. For instance, I was part of a team that prosecuted Congressman Dan Flood, a mustachioed congressman from Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Well, this caused problems in the House. How do they handle this as it's pending and so forth? And the counsel to the Speaker, Counsel to Tip O'Neill, my good friend Stan, was on that. So we thought it was funny that we were both involved in that. And I had a witness who had bribed Congressman Flood, who was in charge of CETA funds, Comprehensive Employment Training Act funds. Well, anyhow, suffice it to say, it's kind of bittersweet to go back on old memories, although this was fun because we revealed things to each other that we hadn't realized. We played a companion role in a way. So now, yesterday's news I thought was much more fun than today's news. Today's news begins like this. Here's my first quiz item. Who said to the Orange Menace in the White House on the night of the election last November, the presidential election? And the advice was, just say we won. 4 words, just say we won. Who could possibly give that advice to the Orange Menace? He whose name we'd rather ignore. And the answer is none other than Rogue Rudy Giuliani. And that's what he said to the Orange Menace. Now, let me give you some context. Rudy was sitting with his son in a room where everybody was having a party, and he's zooming in on the numbers across the country, how it's going, and drinking. And then at some point, he gets up all agitated, and he thinks he has the answer. And he tries to get to see Trump. People keep him away, in part because he's drunk, they say, in a book that's come out today, and you can read a summary of it in the Post and get it on Amazon. And they keep him away until they can't, and the big lie is born that evening, if not before. As far as we know, this is the first origin of the big lie. And that evening, I guess it's early in the next morning, Trump gives a speech that actually parallels that bad advice, and people cheer. Thus was born the cause for concern that we had Rudy and the president, in my opinion, committing seditious, traitorous, treasonous acts, which are actionable at criminal law, not just civil law. And they betray the oath of office that at least Trump took to preserve and protect the Constitution when he's in fact, knowing full well he's wrong, he's betraying his oath of office. So now the second part of this, which is upsetting to me because a lot of us know or believe that something like this happened, is that yesterday our President Biden gave a speech, and he spoke about what a horror it was and that it was a lie that was being pushed around America to justify voting reforms that were unnecessary, worse, were discriminatory against persons of color and certain sensitive groups by age and so forth. Now, the part that makes me upset about yesterday is not the music of Biden's speech, but the failure to propose exactly how we fight this lie, how we move forward. Now, you may know that in Texas, they're having a special session. And Democrats walked out on that special session in like the 11th hour, not too long ago, denying a quorum for that representative body to act. But this time, they went to D.C. to ask their brother and sister Democrats in the House and the Senate to fight against the 60-vote barrier to getting anything done in the Senate, to vote against the filibuster, to stop it because it was anti-democratic. Because Senates already have 2 votes, no matter what size the state is. So it's already not a proportional body. So if you're adding on top of that you need 60 votes to pass anything, where are you? That's why they compare it to Jim Crow, because this filibuster mechanism was created to perpetuate racism in America, to fight integration, to preserve segregation, to have the massive resistance, and to do it by certain very obvious ploys to prevent persons of color from voting. So, Biden gives a speech. I heard a lot of people declare it was terrific. I didn't hear it at the time. I played it afterwards. And it's a good speech. But I say it's good because this is not a rhetorical exercise anymore. What do we do about it? And I've seen Democrats and others, I believe they believe what they're saying. What can he do? His hands are tied. Leaders' hands are not tied, ever. Leaders can find a way. What is the way here? It is to end the filibuster. It is to say, I want every Democrat who's elected, who's in the Senate, to vote against the filibuster. And if you're not doing it, you're anti-democratic. You're on the side of the Republicans. You are not on our side. I don't care if he does it privately or publicly, but that message has to come through. Because, as one representative from Texas said, if we do not have representative government, we have no government at all. This is the most important fight of this administration. And we are helping him for the midterms by pushing him, Biden, to actually act, to take the music of his speech yesterday and to march on that music out into the street and do something about it. Maybe he should ask for a joint address to Congress. Because at the very least, we have to squeeze this so that de facto we get representative government, and hopefully by law we get representative government. Because we defeat these so-called reforms, which are really Jim Crow laws to suppress the vote. And we may have to work around courts and everybody else, and that's not the path of least resistance. The path we must follow is the path of the Senate. So, Manchin and Sinema, I know some people say, oh, they might lose their seats. Well, let us not make the hypothetical possibilities the barrier to a needed reform. Let's have these two senators stand up with some courage and risk losing their seat. Or do they think it's not a good argument to make to the public that we should have a representative government and that every vote should count, including their neighbor who's a person of color, or some elderly person who can't comply with the rules of these elections? So that's where I stand today. So today, I'm a little disappointed as compared to yesterday. So, have a good day. Get out and have some sweat, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.